like the surface of the sun at Disney World.
Was it?
There was one day I thought I was going to die. We're at Animal Kingdom, and there's just nowhere to cool down there except the like big shop at the front. I looked at Julissa and I said, listen, I got to do something because I keep drinking water and it's not helping.
It's not doing
and I feel like I'm going to die.
Oh my gosh. So is there a place in there that you haven't really been to that much?
How many times have you been to Disney?
I think that was our 13th trip in 10 years.
That's insane. Yeah. Like it?
Well, obviously.
I mean, the rides are just...
What's upcoming? Because they're always working on something.
So they just announced a Monsters, Inc. world in Hollywood Studios.
Really?
So their main attraction there will be a roller coaster where it simulates that you're on the doors.
Really?
They have a new Indiana Jones attraction. Nice. So they have, in Animal Kingdom, they have like Africa and Asia, and they have Dino USA, right?
Yeah.
So it's getting demolished, and they're building an Encanto,
wow,
like themed home
Yeah,
type thing. Cool. And they're building Indiana Jones Dark Ride.
Nice.
Right now, that's Dinosaur, and it's probably the scariest ride they have there. It just beats the shit out of you. Like,
Really?
You just are rattled at the end of it because it just shakes you. Last time I rode it, I was like, why are we riding
Worse
this
than
ride?
the Timberwolf?
I don't know if anything's worse than the Timberwolf. Honestly.
Right?
The last time I rode that, I'm pretty sure all my fillings fell out of my mouth.
It's rough, dude. That Timberwolf is rough.
You get on that, and then you get on like the Prowler, and it's just like ice. You know?
Smooth. Yeah.
So funny enough, that was Logan's very first ride at World
Sheesh, that's a terrible idea.
Well, he was wanting to do Mamba.
The Mamba's beautiful. I love it.
No way. But there's no way he would have been able to make that. So he made it through Timberwolf, and then we tried to get him on the new one, the Zambi Zinger. And we're like, oh, it's nothing. It's a baby ride. And JD and I hadn't ridden it yet.
The
We're
new
like,
one?
oh, yeah. We're like, it's fine. And then we got on it, and that bar goes all the way down, and there's no shoulder straps or anything. And you're just zooming. It is insane.
I
Oh
haven't
my
ridden that one
gosh.
yet.
It's crazy.
fast.
It's fast. So it's not as fast as like any of the other ones, but like the turns that they take you on are insane. Like some of them, I swear, they're like, that
Banked.
steep. So
in Magic Kingdom, they're demolishing the Tom Sawyer Island, and like there's a river that Liberty Bell ship goes on.
Yeah.
They're going to make that like a Cars world.
Really?
And then they're building a villains section of the park.
Oh,
Get
cool.
rid of the last vestiges of racism.
I mean, listen, so we went and saw the Country Bear Jamboree, which they redid because the bears are just trashed in it.
Right.
Like, they're drunk.
Yeah.
And it's the one redo. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, it was very entertaining.
Is that Splash Mountain?
No, that's like just little animatronics of bears singing. But we rode the new Splash Mountain, and it was great. I mean, it's the same ride. It just rethemed. So it's good.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
I always forget whenever I was on Splash Mountain, like, oh yeah, there's a drop at the end of this because you're kind of working your way up.
There's
and
like 5
everything
drops
going
in that
on,
thing,
so
but that
final
one, we got
get you.
Jack to ride it twice.
Yeah.
After the first one, he cried, and then he didn't want to ride it again. But we made him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I really just don't like that
It's
ride.
like, it's just fine.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Movies with Chill podcast. I'm your host, Chill. Today we'll be reviewing Beetlejuice from 1988. Beetlejuice is a comedy horror film directed by Tim Burton and written by Michael McDowell, Warren Skaaren, and Larry Wilson. Based on Michael McDowell and his partner Laurence Senelick's real-life neighbors in 1980s.
Sweet.
So that's what they say anyway.
The Maitlands.
Yeah. Starring Alec Baldwin, Geena Davis, Jeffrey Jones, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, and Michael Keaton. After a family moves into a recently deceased couple's home, the newly deceased contact a bio-exorcist to help them scare out the new house's inhabitants. Today, as always, I am joined by David and Lee. How you
what's
boys
up?
doing?
Oi, oi.
Oi,
Oi, oi.
Oi.
Oi. Have you guys watched anything new this week?
Here's the deal. I talked about this, I think, last podcast that I started the MCU.
Yeah.
You're already bored with it?
No. In fact, I had not watched, I didn't realize I had never watched the second season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm loving it.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. can get you down a rabbit hole. I don't know if it's a Stockholm Syndrome kind of thing.
I don't know.
But,
I dig it. So because I went to Disney, the first 3 days I was by myself.
Yeah.
So I would do a park and get it done in like 4 hours and then go back to the room and just watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because, I mean, why not? I'm by myself, undisturbed. So I finished season 1.
Nice.
And then I only have 4 episodes of season 2 left. So it's really hard for me to watch anything new, honestly.
I got you.
I haven't watched much of anything at all new. We always do our Friday night movies. We landed on Oh Brother, We're Out There, but we changed it to The Hangover because Colton hadn't seen it.
Both fantastic movies.
Right.
In their own,
They are.
In their own.
They are.
Yeah.
But he had never seen The Hangover.
Wow.
And he's never done anything remotely.
How old is he?
That. He's 21. He'll be 22.
And he's never seen that movie?
No.
That's
No,
crazy.
he
Has
doesn't
he-
watch movies. He will sit in his room and watch YouTube videos.
Has he seen Superbad?
I think you've seen most of it. I don't think he's watched all of it. He'll come out to the table and he'll be like, so what do I need to watch? We'll give him like 2 or 3 TV shows he should watch, 4 or 5 movies, everything.
He disappears for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then comes back and says, what should I watch?
Yeah, but he's not watched any of them.
Yeah, of course.
He'll look them up and he'll put them in a queue or whatever, but
Yeah.
he's not watching. I've told him to watch so many different things, like Breaking Bad. He's never watched Breaking Bad. And I'm like, what are you doing with your life?
Right.
I was like, ugh, brother. So nothing new in our house.
I got
It's
you.
all old stuff.
Just all old stuff?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
There's a lot of stuff coming out that I'm very excited about.
Are you?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I guess I did go see Alien Romulus.
How was it?
It was really
I know,
good.
I'm so excited. I haven't been
Calvin
able
and I went to see it at the 4DX.
The 4D,
Was
bro.
it awesome?
It was awesome.
It was
So
insane.
the seats were moving. You're getting little blasts of air in your face. Some people were getting water. I didn't get the water.
I got
but
the
some
mist,
people
bro.
did. And
Every
then you
time.
get stuff beating on your back and legs and
legs.
all kinds of stuff.
And the seats like moving like you're in
Tilt.
an, oh my gosh.
then
So
they had
where-
strobe lights.
Where
Yeah.
is that at?
There's one at the Liberty B&B.
Okay.
And then there's another one in Overland Park.
Jalissa was impressed with a Pixar short film festival they had there to where the entire theater moves.
Whoa.
But it's like the size of a movie theater. Like
Wow.
it's that big.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the seats start going wump, 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 wump. And I showed her videos of like people watching Twister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think that's too much. I think it's too much.
Yeah.
Does it shake the shit out of you?
Well, we saw Alien Romulus, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
No, it was just one of her.
It was just like whenever like they were floating, like because it's in space,
Yeah.
and it would just like the 4 seats together would just kind of
tilt.
That's
move.
cool.
float.
And there was times where
You thought you were gonna tip out.
yeah, and then also times where it like tip you forward a little bit, and you're like,
feel
oh,
like
this
you're
is
gonna
weird.
slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't get the mist, but when the vehicles would stop moving or whatever, they'd have the air get in your face, or so on and so forth.
Right.
When the first face hugger jumped on screen, I got missed, and it scared the shit out of me because I was so used to the compressed air hitting me, and I knew it was going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
I knew that as soon as something was going to jump up, pop, jump scare, it'd be air. But no, it was mist, and I was like,
I'm gonna
And
have to go watch.
You can ask Lee. He was making fun of me.
I was
'cause
making
he
fun of
like,
him because I thought I was like, you cannot be this scared.
Come on.
It's not. It's like I must be just made of stone because every jump scare I'd just be like,
Yeah, that's
great.
fine.
This guy.
I hear they use like the old technology in it too.
They do.
to make it.
It's a lot of practical, and
like,
it's
well, I'm saying like the computer screens and stuff. I heard they're
Oh, yeah.
continuity wise, they
Oh, yeah.
keep it the same, which,
Yes.
It's all the same.
which I
Yep.
love.
It's
Yes.
so good. They've got Mother and everything.
Yeah, and it takes place between Alien and
And
Alien.
Aliens.
is in it.
Really?
Oh, that's a spoiler, big dog.
No, it's not for him.
Okay, yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Is in
yeah.
it.
I got it.
And it's not good.
No, it's not.
It's terrible.
It's bad. It's the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, everything else and all of the practical effects are just fantastic.
spot on.
Oh,
Great.
great.
Every time you hear any kind of gas vent in the movie, like, psh,
Yeah.
you got a blast in the face.
Yeah,
Every time. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was well worth the price.
for sure.
I have yet to see a 4DX movie. I'm
You
very
should.
excited.
Yeah, go down and see Alien,
I
man.
know.
You'll
Yeah.
love it.
How much was it to go?
It's 22 per person.
That's
yeah.
nothing.
Well, we saw it in a matinee, so I can imagine that if you go like for an evening showing, it'll be a
What,
little
$5
more.
more? Yeah.
Yeah.
Money bags over here. No,
Yeah,
don't
I
worry
know,
about
right?
Whatever.
it. Shut up, Mr. 13 times to Dizzy.
Oh my goodness.
I've never been
two,
once.
I had 2 jobs to do that.
Yeah, well,
So why did we pick Beetlejuice?
because Beetlejuice is coming out.
You
Yeah.
can't say that.
I only
You
said it twice.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
said it once.
Okay,
We're good.
I can only say it one more time.
Yeah.
gotcha.
So what's the question?
Why did we pick this movie?
Yeah.
Because the second one's coming out. I mean,
Okay. What was the first time that you guys watched the movie?
I don't even
In
know.
the theater.
I don't
Theater.
even know the answer. When did it come out? What year?
1988.
88.
Oh, I'm sure I saw it in the theater too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a good chance I saw
I don't
with
remember
Jay.
it. I just remember my entire childhood watching Beetlejuice.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
all the time.
All the time.
What is your favorite and least favorite Tim Burton movie?
I don't like James and the Giant Peach.
Really? That's crazy.
Well, I think it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, it creeps me out.
Yeah.
I don't care for that. I don't care for Coraline. I don't care
Oh, I
for,
love Coraline.
I don't care for
Coraline's
Corpse
scary, too.
Bride.
That's
I
good,
don't
yeah.
care for The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I like that, too. Corpse Bride,
I
I've
like
only seen one.
Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow.
Johnny Depp goes right along with my favorite lore story.
My least favorite is definitely Charlie and the Chocolate
Charlie and the Chocolate
Factory.
Yeah.
Factory.
I forget about that one.
I didn't hate that one.
My favorite's Batman. I mean, yeah, it has to be. Or this, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
I like this movie being like a slap in the face to the studios. So they only gave them a budget of so much. No one was watching while they made this movie. They had no supervision.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to make this shit as cheesy as possible on purpose.
Okay.
And I love that.
Gotcha.
Because it worked.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm very curious, and I've heard interviews with Michael Keaton saying that the new one coming out is the same
Okay.
on purpose. And I've also heard that he only has 17 minutes screen time
on
in
this.
the new one.
Wow.
He said he won't do it if it's any more than 17 minutes. He said because he'll just suck the movie dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to like relish in the time that he's on the screen.
Yeah.
And he was like, the first one isn't about Beetlejuice, really. It's about
the Maitlands.
the Maitlands, right?
So are they back in the
They are not. I've read that they're not,
man,
but I
that's a bummer.
don't. I don't know if there's like a cameo, but it's mostly about the Deets. You
Really?
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
I want to know how they're cleaning away Jeffrey Jones.
That's why they're there.
Does he die?
He died. They're there for his funeral. So
Wow.
that's why they're all back.
I'll
Is
be damned.
he died. So if you watch the trailer, there's a casket lowering, and slowly you can see his face in the background on the tombstone.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But that's why Catherine O'Hare in the trailer, she has a black veil over the entire house
Oh,
because he died. So she's in mourning.
oh my goodness.
And so I love that she's still going to play the over the top.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Architect, artist.
she's just an artist. Otho was the designer.
Yeah, that's right.
That
All right.
No
bastard.
offense, Dave, but you could play Otho.
Listen,
Like you were born. to
I got
play
a funny
Otho.
story about this. So before I grew the beard, which is why I grew the beard, by the way, I got called Otho all the time. It got to the point where, like, one Halloween, I made a tearaway suit that had the blue suit underneath it.
Really?
And I carried a can of spray paint and book. And so that's who I was, like, all Halloween.
That's awesome.
So years later, I was at a party and someone had said I'd look like him, and I just went into an hour long how my mom's maiden name is Shaddix.
Oh my gosh.
And that's my uncle. And he had just passed away. I said, he'd just passed away. We just went to his funeral. You know, he stopped acting, became a photographer. If you look him up, you can see his work and stuff like that. And I had this entire party convinced that
you were
Glenn
related.
Shaddix was my uncle. And I left without correcting it.
So all you chumps listen to this
Yeah,
now that believed it.
Yeah.
That's
Suckers.
what happened.
Yeah.
I love it. The old bait and switch.
That's funny you say that because I am his nephew.
Yeah.
Right. Hey. Oh, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob's
Crazy.
your uncle.
Bingo bango.
Favorite? Least favorite?
Least favorite? Oh, take your pick out of any of the animated ones.
Okay.
I don't care.
I should have guessed.
Any of them.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Favorite?
Favorite probably gonna be Sleepy Hollow.
Gotcha.
What about you?
Me? So Big Fish for my favorite.
I forgot about Big Fish.
I love Big Fish.
That's a good movie.
It is. And then, yeah, I think we got them all. Yeah.
What's your least favorite?
Oh, dude, it was Charlie. And the
Charlie.
Chocolate. What was yours?
James and
James
the
the
Giant
Giant
Peach.
Peach.
And
His
it's
favorite.
mostly, I think it's a pretty movie. I
Yeah.
think it's mostly because of how it made me feel as a child.
Yeah.
Creeped
I
you
mean,
out.
it just creeped me out. There was something about it.
The spider.
But so,
and-
I mean, the first time I saw Coraline was less than 5 years ago. I'd never seen it.
Really?
I've
It's a
never
solid
seen
movie.
it. It doesn't look appealing to me.
Listen.
Oh, it's
So we're
solid.
watching it, and
Well.
she moves in a house with her mom and dad.
Uh-huh.
Her dad's he's a writer. He's very busy all the time. Her mom is, I can't remember what she does, but she never has time for her, and she's on her own, basically, in this house, right?
Right.
And she finds a door, and when she goes in the door, it's an alternate version of the house, and her parents are there, but they're very loving and caring, but they have button eyes. And the first time I watched this with the kids, I looked at Jalissa, and I said, what in the hell are we watching? This is terrifying, Jalissa.
Yeah.
This is not a kid's movie.
Yeah.
And they loved it.
Yeah. Of
But
course they did.
Shit goes crazy.
Sideways.
It goes real sideways.
Yep.
Like creepy sideways.
Yeah.
But it's a great story, and I really
Solid movie.
It is a solid movie.
Gonna have to check it out.
Not a kid's movie.
No.
Well, I don't care about that.
It's not a kid's movie.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about
What movie?
Beetlejuice before we get into spoilers.
Also, a bitch real quick. In the movie, it's always spelled differently.
Yeah.
And it's because he can't say his name.
Right.
So, but I never realized that until just now. Like, as an adult, it always drove me crazy that he spelled his name, and I rewatched it I've watched it so many times that it's just on, right? Well, I watched it this time like as a movie reviewer.
Critical eye.
Right, and that kind of sucked a little bit because there were things I was like, Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, that's why.
Why?
I'm an idiot. I was 43 when I found this out. Yeah.
So I'll be honest with you. This was my first, second, and third. I don't remember if it was my fourth time watching the movie over the past this week, and every time I fell asleep during the movie. I'd always wake up right before Winona Ryder's character gets him out of the model.
Yeah.
But I have seen every part. I just haven't seen it all sequentially. So
I mean, that's okay.
yeah. So I think I
could totally understand this movie not being for a lot of people.
Right.
I feel like if you watch this as an adult now, you'd be like, this is a freaking weird movie.
Yeah.
It's a weird movie.
It is weird.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious.
I will say
Michael Keaton he's brilliant.
every Tim Burton movie,
Don't eat anything you
they
want.
have their
Don't
own,
swallow
it
anything you want.
has
Swallow.
its own style. You know what I'm
on.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Shoot a
so,
dog.
yeah, the production design and everything like that is solid for every one of his movies.
Yeah.
So, like, that's one of those things. Even Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I can kind of...
I'll give Tim Burton this. He puts everything into his movies.
Yeah.
He doesn't hold back.
Nope.
Right.
So I'll give him that. He
I
always
wonder
goes
how he
all
is
out.
in real life. Like,
I bet
Just
weird
as sick
and
from dra-
do you think
weird.
he is Tim Burton?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's
Oh,
not
yeah.
like the...
You're not putting that kind of stuff out
Is
for
he,
as long as he's
is
done
him
it.
and
Not
Helen
be
Helen
weird.
Bonham Carter still married?
I have no idea. I would assume.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that they split.
I hadn't either.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
would
that's
thank
kind
him
of like
for her
the
career.
perfect... Like, he did Sweeney Todd, and
Yeah.
I'm not not a huge
I actually don't
musical person. I like certain musicals, but I really like Sweeney Todd, and I thought it was good.
I went to see Sweeney Todd in theaters not knowing that it was going to be a musical.
I mean-
and I was like, it was all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
How old is she? 8?
Yeah, right.
8.5.
58. German.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Ja.
yes.
Ja oder
Tim,
nein?
Tim Burton und...
Oh my
Und ja.
goodness. So anyway, Beetlejuice is a runtime of 92 minutes. Release date of March 30th, 1988. Had a budget of $15 million and grossed $74.7 million.
And I will say at the time, that's like...
That was a lot of
A
money.
lot of money.
No, but it did great.
Yeah.
For a movie nobody ever heard of.
Yeah, it came out March 30th, so I went with the box office for the
April?
Okay, so top box office for April of 1988 is Beetlejuice, Biloxi Blues,
Biloxi Blues. Matthew Broderick.
Okay, Bright Lights, Big City, Fox and the Hound re-release.
Damn, why would you re-release that movie?
Dude, I love
it
that
came
movie.
out of the vault.
Yeah,
Disney releasing.
I love that movie too, but if you want to feel like shit for 2 hours,
It probably coincided with a VHS release,
yeah.
there's a reason why there's nothing Fox and the Hound at Disney World,
Right.
Anywhere.
right?
Copper. The Seventh Sign,
Love that movie too.
Colors.
Have you ever seen that movie?
I want to say I have.
It has Demi Moore in it, and she is pregnant.
Oh yeah, she's
with the baby.
Antichrist.
With the baby, no, she's pregnant with a baby that has no soul because the Hall of Souls that they talk about in the Bible is out of souls because it's not
Whoa.
replenishing, and so end of times are coming. So
It's
the
one of the
seven
signs of the apocalypse.
signs of the
Whoa.
apocalypse, and she has to make like the ultimate sacrifice to get it all started again. It's a great movie.
Okay.
And like, there's a guy stalking her in it. I won't give anything away. You should
All
look it
right,
up. It's
for
good.
sure. Colors at 6. Moonstruck. Good Morning Vietnam at
Man,
8.
this thing is a heavy hitter.
Number 9 is The Last Emperor, and then 10, Johnny Be Good.
I remember Johnny Be Good.
Yeah, I remember The
Man,
Last
they
Emperor.
had some bangers in 1988,
There
didn't
was
they?
some bangers. Johnny Be Good had RDJ and Anthony Michael Hall.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Anthony Michael Hall played like a blue chip high school football player looking for a college.
Okay.
And his buddy, RDJ, was Robert Downey Jr. in the 80s.
Yeah,
He wasn't
yeah.
acting.
Yeah. Some facts about the movie before we get into spoilers. This is Michael Keaton's favorite film.
The one he's been in, yeah.
He had the most creative control over it, too.
Yeah.
I would say most of his lines are improvised. In it.
90% of his lines are
Yeah.
actually ad-libbed.
I think Tim Burton just said, go wild with
Yeah.
it.
Be nuts.
And this was also the first DVD ever sent out by Netflix in 1998.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. The idea...
And they don't even send them out anymore.
Oh.
Actually, they still do.
I got a customer was still getting discs in the mail.
Really?
That's insane.
Yes, she's the sweetest lady, too.
Nice. The idea for the movie came after Poltergeist was a hit movie, but the idea of Bad Ghost was flipped. People who moved into the house would be the awful ones.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hare met her future husband, production designer Bo Welch, while making the film. According to Welch, Tim Burton said he should ask her out near the end of filming. It didn't even occur to me that I was even supposed to talk to actors, but since Tim told me to, I did, and then we dated, and we're married, and here we are today.
She's fantastic.
Yeah,
She's
awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Anything else about the movie before we get into spoilers?
I will say that Moira from Schitt's Creek is based on
Really?
a lot of this character.
Catherine
She
O'Hare,
said that
yeah.
she pulls from this character to
I
make
could see
Moira.
that.
Yeah.
I can
Nice.
see that.
Just over the top and
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Tim Burton's original choice for Beetlejuice was Sammy Davis Jr.
I knew that.
as he was a childhood friend of Burton.
That was a trivia question somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Studio also looked at Dudley Moore and Sam Kinison before Keaton was finally signed after declining the role at first.
I gotta say, both of those would be good.
Can you imagine Sam Kinison?
I'm out with your daughter, Chuck.
Oh, boy. Rest his soul.
Oh my goodness. So, would you guys recommend people watch Beetlejuice? And if so, who would you recommend it to?
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It's
I feel like we say the same thing all the
There's
time.
nothing
Yeah.
But it is true. I mean,
you should avoid in this movie.
Right.
no.
In my opinion, it's not going to offend anybody.
It's a
I
fun,
would
quick
think of.
movie. I feel like it goes by really fast.
Yeah.
I had paused it and I was like, oh shit, like I'm over halfway through this movie and didn't
Yeah.
even realize it, you know?
It goes quick.
Unlike some of the movies we've watched where I've been like, oh my God.
When is it
over
going
yet.
to be over?
Right, yeah.
Every time that I watched it, Logan was sitting right next to me watching it.
So the poor kid had to watch it 4 times.
He wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, are we watching Beetlejuice again? Can I watch it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sweet.
So, sweet. Spoilers on your account, Lee?
Get after it.
Yee. But first,
But first.
trivia. Trivia. Question 1. What is the name of the handbook?
Handbook for the recently deceased.
That's correct. Who is the real estate agent?
Jane.
Yeah, Jane.
I don't know her last name. It's Jane, though.
I'll take Jane, but for the record, Jane Butterfield.
Butterfield.
Where is he banished to after scaring the Deets and almost killing?
The cemetery.
But there's a...
Wait, hold on.
Almost
specific
killing
place.
the. Well, he's in Dante's Inferno room.
That's
The
correct.
whorehouse.
Yeah, which was Juno's idea.
Yeah.
The whorehouse was my idea.
That's right.
How many years must the Maitlands...
125.
Who says Beetlejuice 3 times through the movie?
Who says Beetlejuice 3 times through the movie? Let's see.
Well,
what's her
Geena
name?
Davis does.
What's her name?
Martha.
Martha.
No, it's not Martha.
Barbara.
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 Yeah. Lydia.
Lydia.
Okay. And because they summon him and then they put him back
Hold on.
and then they summon
Barbara
again.
says it twice. She summons him and sends him back.
Okay.
And then Lydia summons him, and that's it.
Final answer?
Final answer.
David?
I guess. I don't know.
Because she
That's-
says home, home, home.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
get out.
She
But
says,
then when
hey,
they
hey,
attack-
hey,
when he
home,
attacks-
home.
Yeah, when he attacks the Maitlands, she comes out of the room and says Beetlejuice, 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 and he's gone.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Nice, you tricky bastard.
Bonus.
Was that the one you were going to try to trip me up on?
Yep.
No.
Bonus question. Which 2 movie titles were almost used?
Oh, wow.
Okay. I'll give you 4.
I'm going to know him right when I hear him. But
Okay.
go.
1, Scared Sheetless.
That's one.
2, House Ghosts. 3, I Now Pronounce You Dead.
No.
4, Beyond the Grave.
No, it's one and it's A and B. It's 1 and 2.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Okay. The studio originally wanted to call the film House Ghost as a joke.
And then they joked
Tim-
back and said,
Tim Burton suggested they named Scared Sheetless and was horrified that the studio was actually considered using it.
yeah, I knew that.
Wow.
Scared Sheetless is pretty funny.
All right, well, let's get into our long-form discussion. Not so long-form.
I tell you what, this movie makes me want to go to Winter River, Connecticut, or wherever. I just want to visit a town like that, like one time. You know, like just
Bangor, Maine.
Yeah, just East Coast in the fall. Like I've always wanted with the bridges and
go knock on Stephen King's door.
Well, I always wanted to go to like a town like from Funny Farm.
Right.
You know, like, it's just small and right. I've never seen anyone eat that many.
Oh my gosh.
The trick is you got to clip them up
Real high.
Oh my gosh.
That's for another time.
Yeah, it is for another time.
Chevy Chase.
So, I mean, obviously, this movie starts off in Connecticut. Barbara and Adam Maitland
proprietor of the Maitland hardware store.
That's right. Which I never knew really. I figured that out, but as a kid, I didn't realize that was his. I was always like, he's just going to walk in there and put money in the register. Right. As a kid, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't realize like it was his hardware store.
Yeah.
And I do love the old barber sitting outside just talking.
The entire time.
He put that thing up in 19...
So they decide to have a staycation, is what we call it now.
That's right.
But vacationing at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are going to redecorate the house, and he's going to work on his model, and they're all super excited about it. Well, it's their anniversary, I believe, right?
I don't remember.
Because they give each other presents.
Right.
And so he gets some tongue oil, and he gets her wallpaper.
Right.
And you know what? As a kid, I didn't realize that this is the only time you see the basement of the house, which is just like a normal basement.
Yeah.
But he goes down, and Jane interrupts him because she has a deal. Which in 1988, $260,000 for a house is like
a lot.
Insane.
Damn. Yeah. And that's probably what, $500,000 now?
Oh, if not more.
If not more.
Yeah.
Probably closer to $1 million.
Yeah. And they're like, we're not interested. You know, like, go away, Joan. Jane, go away, you know.
This house is so big. You should just be putting kids. Oh,
sorry.
I was trying to figure out how they could afford a house like that.
Well, I want to know what Barbara does because she works. What does she do?
Yeah, I'm not for sure.
Anyway,
she ain't bringing in enough money to buy a $260,000 house.
Yeah.
So he goes to the hardware store. He says, come with me.
Yeah.
He just has to get a new brush for his tongue oil. If you notice on the car, which is hilarious, it says, I break for animals.
Yep.
So they break for the dog when they leave the hardware store. And this is where we see the barber talking. And when they go to the bridge, it's the same dog.
Yeah.
And Adam's the one that causes the wreck.
Yeah. Look out.
He grabs the wheel
Yeah.
and pulls it, and they go over the bridge, and the dog is balancing the car on the bridge. I always love that little
Dogs.
They do that a lot in movies. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. But they fall face down in the river, and the next thing you know, they're walking in their house, soaking wet.
forgot how they got there.
Forgot how they got there. They don't see themselves in the mirror.
They figure out real quick they're dead.
Yeah. She said her arm hurts, and she's really cold. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And then they find the handbook for the recently deceased.
And I think
Stereo instructions.
one of them opens up
Listen to this.
One of them opens up the front door and tries to leave, and then
Adam
they get
does.
Adam does. Ends
He
up in
gets-
Saturn.
Yeah.
Damn sandworms.
Damn sandworms. 13%. 13% into sandworms incidents.
Well, let's see if we can find a job.
Yeah.
I forgot about that scene when until I just recently rewatched it too.
Yep.
There's all these little scenes you just forget about, but he's gone for how long? That should have been a trivia question.
4
Yeah.
hours.
Was it 4 hours?
4 or 3.
Four.
It, like
I thought it was 4 or 6.
He
yeah.
literally steps off, goes there, he's looking around like what the hell, and he
Turns
gets
around.
pulled. No, he gets pulled back in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's been like 6 hours. And it was like instantaneous for him.
Yeah. Time flies by when you're dead.
Yeah. Oh, if they just leave their house, time really flies by.
Right.
Months.
We also get the little clip with Beetlejuice over his shoulder where he's reading about sandworms and he says, I better look for a job. And he opens up the obituaries.
Sees the
It says
Maitlands.
Maitland's,
They look real dumb, dude.
yeah, they look real dumb too.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
At this point in time, they're like, they can't figure out why they're there, you know, like
What they're supposed to
what
do.
they're supposed to do. Why are they, why is there no one else around?
Why can't anybody-
Jane comes by the house and they're screaming at her and they
She
don't
can't see him.
no, they kind of are starting to panic.
They're reading through the book too.
Yeah, they're reading through the book and he's like, this is,
Spot on.
it's
almost.
spot on. Yeah, like he doesn't know what to do. It's like a morning, right? And he pulls the covers off of her and she's floating above
Yeah.
the bed.
Yeah.
And
And when she wakes up, she realizes and then
yeah, it
she
falls to the ground. Which I watched carefully. That they did a good job at that. You can't catch how they did it, but the house is shaking, and then they realize that the house has been sold.
Right.
And then we get introduced to the Dietz.
To the Dietz family. Yeah. New York City. There's Charles, Delia, and Lydia. And then Otho is their interior decorator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
And-
friend of Delia.
Charles is what? Probably a financial advisor.
I would assume that he's probably like a vice principal or something along that.
Stop. He's not allowed around children.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not within 1,000 feet of a school.
Yeah. Oh, he's a former real estate developer, and he had a
Right.
nervous breakdown. He bought the house to relax and
Yeah.
be in the country,
Yeah.
and she ain't having it.
No.
Absolutely not.
You will let me redecorate this house, or I will go insane.
I will
Take you with me.
I will take you with me.
And I believe her.
I do like that Otho comes through the window.
Yes,
Because it's
it's
bad
unlucky.
luck. It's unlucky.
Bad luck to come through the front door.
Mauve.
You read my mind.
You read my mind. And we also meet
Most of my clients don't like
Lydia, who's their goth daughter.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
She, too, is strange and unusual.
So she says,
Her life is a big, dark room.
And Delia is what the hell just happened? Sorry, you couldn't hear it, but the door handle just kept turning
Jiggling.
and shaking. And
Thought we were haunted.
not in this house.
Not up in here.
Yeah.
Not up in here.
not up in here. Delia is a sculptor and conceptual artist, and
Okay.
her stuff is terrible.
It is terrible. Look like a third
Awful.
grader did it.
You're a flake, and you always have been.
lost
So
money on
they
you.
start going through the house. We got to change everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. How much of this stuff's got to go? All of it.
All of
And
it.
everything in the attic as
Yeah.
well.
So they're
But they-
walking through.
Can't get up into the attic because the door's locked.
And the Maitlands run past them, and they don't notice them.
Right.
I do love
Adam
that
does.
when they're going, but before this, they're going through the house, and then the Maitlands are
Trying to scare
trying
him.
to scare the hell out of them. And
Yeah.
then there's one point where off screen she saws off her husband's head.
Yeah,
And
and
she's
it's
holding it with a knife. It is one of my favorite scenes in the movie where she's like, well, that didn't work. And then he looks up and he's just this floating head. And he's like, yeah, I don't know.
I like it when she pulls her face off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he says, oh, gross. Ozzy and Harriet.
yeah.
But I like when they walk through the bathroom and they say, look, an inside-outside house. Or,
Yeah.
Indoor outhouse.
Indoor house.
House.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. As a
pass.
kid, I didn't get that, and I
Right.
got it as an adult.
Of course you did.
Right. So they start panicking.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, what the hell are we going to do? And he says, wait.
Can't do 125 years here with these people.
No.
Yeah.
They also are looking out the window, and Lydia is out there taking pictures, and she
Could see them.
could see him. And I will say, I think that's the scariest part of the entire movie. And as a kid, it even scared me.
Really?
Their heads poking out that window creep me out.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Even I watched it last night, and I was like, that's so creepy. Because she's looking, and it's not distinct.
No.
They're kind of in the shadows.
It's
and you-
vague.
yeah, and you see their faces, and it's like,
Can't
"Ooh."
quite make it out, but you know it's
Ugh,
there.
I don't
You're
like it. Yeah, I don't like that part of the movie.
It really made me think of kind of an homage. I think it's kind of an homage to Psycho, where
yeah, that
you
house
can
is
see the outline of it and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
agree.
They're trying to get up in the attic.
So Jane shows up as she's taking the picture and says, this is a skeleton key, blah, blah, blah. And so she runs up to do it. But at this time, Adam is freaking out, and he remembers seeing in the handbook, it says to draw a door.
Yeah.
And so he draws the door, and he draws I love him going, and he draws the handle.
Yeah.
And he comes back, and he's like, now what? I love him trying to reach for the handle.
Knock 3 times.
Yeah. So he knocks 3 times, and it shakes apart, and there's like a green light. And this is when Lydia
Notices it.
was trying to put the key in the door, and he pops it out, and the green light comes through, and they go to the afterlife.
Yeah.
Which,
The waiting room.
Which, this world, I think that we get a lot of in the new movie coming out, which I'm excited for.
Good.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of hidden things in this.
A lot of hidden jokes. Yeah.
Right, which I love.
Yep.
So when Adam and Barbara are in an office, a voice on the PA system announces Flight 409 is arriving at Gate 3, and it's a reference to United Airlines Flight 409 crashing into a mountain in Wyoming on October 6, 1955, killing all passengers and crew aboard.
Damn.
At the time, it was one of the worst plane crashes in history. It was one of 3 plane crashes in 1955 and had a total of 66 casualties. To this day, no one knows why it crashed.
Wow.
I was like, that is dark.
That is dark.
Oh my
but
gosh.
It's dark, but I love it.
Right.
Do I look flat?
Look run down.
So,
Yeah.
so think about that then, is 33 years before this movie was made. So now, 2029. So that'd be like making a joke about Challenger or something like that today. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Which we do a lot.
Yeah.
We do, yeah. I do like we get a glimpse of all of the deaths. So basically, the Maitlands are the only ones that look fine.
Normal. Yeah.
And it's because they drown. And I think that Tim Burton had said in an interview that he didn't want to like blue them up or anything, just because the amount of time it would take makeup wise when
Every scene.
they could just not do it and no one would care.
No one would care.
Right. They also talked about making them wet all the time. And I think that Geena Davis probably was like,
Absolutely
I'm out.
not.
Yeah. So there's the sawed in half woman, obviously the magician's assistant. There's the guy with the shrunken head.
The
There's
wet football players.
They're later.
That
but
was later,
I
yeah.
do like the guy that has the shark on his leg and he
Yeah.
has like the oxygen tank with him, like he was a scuba diver.
Yep.
There's the guy with the chicken bone in his neck.
Yeah.
And then the girl, the receptionist, she was like, if I would have known about what I know now, I wouldn't have had my little accident.
Yeah, all
And that's-
suicides are civil servants.
But that's like PG movie, and that's really dark.
Yeah.
It's really dark. And I also remember being creeped out by the skeleton
Bing.
typing and like looking. But something interesting is when they're talking to Juno in her office, do you always notice like the pink and the green skeleton? And there's a guy in like sunglasses on the other side of her window.
I noticed Otho in the
So it's
second
not
one.
It's not Otho. So
like in the first one, they give you the background. But Otho's not there.
Right.
The second one, he is there,
Right.
and he's sitting there with his glasses on. And if you're not looking for Otho,
So it's not Otho though. So what it is that this story is entertaining to the afterlife as well, and it's supposed to represent the audience of the afterlife watching this like a movie. That
Really?
is Tim Burton. That's exactly what he said. So we're watching on our couch or in the movie theater like they are because the girl is eating popcorn. So she is sitting in the afterlife. It's just a little hidden, like he did it for himself. She's sitting in the audience of the afterlife watching through the windows of the story and watching Beetlejuice on her end.
Nice.
And I just think that is such a cool little, like, good job, Tim Burton.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we meet Juno. They only get
3 vouchers.
3 vouchers to
For
meet her for
125.
100. She's like, you're 2 months in and you're already using it. You know, like,
gosh.
You're going to use them all up.
damn.
How bad could it be?
Right. So she's like, figure it out. You know, like,
It's your house.
it's
You
your
get 'em out.
house. You get them out. And they ask about
What about that
Beetle
guy?
guy. And he's like,
No, you don't want to
insane.
work with him.
He used to be Juno's assistant,
Yeah.
right? And then he went off the rails
Yeah. He went freelance.
as a bio-exorcist,
Exorcist.
which is great. They're going back home. They're walking down the hallway, and that's when she finds or is it before?
It was before they even got to the waiting
Yeah, they
room.
find the dead
lost
dead.
souls. Those that have been exorcised.
Yeah, which was always creepy too.
Yeah.
But they go back down the hallway and they walk in this room. And she's like, this place just keeps getting weirder and weirder. And it's actually what the Deets have done to the house since they've been gone, which had to have been
2 months.
months. Yeah, like crazy. They completely transformed the house
Wow.
in the time that they were in the afterlife.
Now we meet Beetlejuice because they try their home remedies of trying to scare him out.
Oh, the
they put the
sheets.
sheets on. And,
I do love Catherine O'Hara sitting up in bed
Yeah.
with her makeup all messed up and she turns it off.
the TV off.
And-
She's sleeping with Prince Valium tonight.
Yeah. And Lydia's like, I'm still a child. This is child abuse. Quit making those noises.
So gross.
She goes out and takes a million Polaroid photos like a crazy person.
Yeah, Polaroids don't shoot out. That
They do
fast,
not.
But you can try.
But she realizes that they're actual ghosts, and this is when we get the good interaction where she's like, "Why aren't you scared of me?"
Are y'all blood and guts under there?
Yeah, she's peeking through. Yeah.
They pull off the sheets and like, yeah, we just want to get rid of you guys. How come you can see us? Because I am myself.
Strange
And unusual.
and unusual.
Well, they go back upstairs. They try Beetlejuice. And
Yep.
Barbara calls his name 3 times and they end up in the model. The Adams whole town model that he's got all intricately done.
Zagnut?
Come here. Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
It's not quite to scale.
We're
He didn't
not
have time
quite.
to
Didn't
paint.
have time.
No. Yeah.
So they get into the model, and then they see his grave. It says, "Here lies Beetlejuice," and
I was like-
here lies Beetlejuice, and it's pointing down, and the 2 shovels fall over. Oh, I guess we dig, and so they got to dig him up. And
Drives me crazy. They could have just taken the layers
peeled
out.
it off. Well, once they got to the cardboard, though.
Sure, but
you're gonna have to
that
start
first
digging.
couple layers,
Yeah,
they
could've just
literally
peeled
could have
off.
just taken it out.
Yeah. Chucked it out.
But they don't.
Yeah, so
and
they
it
dig
also
through
drove
it.
me crazy that Fragile was written small. Because I'm like, how small was that on the box that he built the model
Exactly.
with? Come on, Tim Burton. Continuity.
Continuity, man.
Fragile should have been enormous. Yeah.
Right.
Right? So they finally dig him up, and Michael Keaton does his thing for a good 5 minutes, and
Oh
he
my God, I
steals
love it so
steals
much.
the show. That scene is probably my favorite
Are
scene.
you talking about when he went to Juilliard?
Yes, I studied exclusively at Juilliard, and
Oh, when he talks like
been
that, and
dead
then
for about
when he says the black death, and then his voice changes.
I've seen The Exorcist about
167
and
times.
it keeps getting funnier every time I see it.
Love it.
I do. It's great. He just steals everything in that scene.
And he's very Robin Williams in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
Nonstop. Just pa, pa, pa,
Just
pa, pa, pa,
back
and
and
he
forth.
never
Never lets up.
no, ever.
I don't know how he kept
He was like,
it
come
up.
in, come in.
Come on in. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
So this is when she says home, home, home.
Yep.
And when he kicks the tree down, the tree wasn't supposed to fall. And that's when he says, nice fucking model. And that's an improvised line. But I love that the tree wasn't supposed to fall. They kept rolling and he snapped in right with that. It's so great.
It is.
So they're like, maybe we should try doing this
Legit.
on our own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this when the dinner scene happens?
Yeah, that's the dinner party where they try to possess everybody, basically.
So, well, because the Dietas are not scared of this.
No.
They are like,
Let's do it. Let's profit off of this.
we have to profit off of it. Yeah.
Right.
So they have the dinner scene.
Well, they have the dinner party, and they don't know about the ghosts
No.
yet.
No.
So they have the dinner party and the whole dance number with Harry Belafonte. And
Yeah.
it's iconic. If you haven't seen it by now, then you're probably never going
The
to
shrimp hands, man.
So
The shrimp hands were crazy.
The shrimp hands kind of remind me of the hand off the movie House when he's like making out with the chick and her hands like turn to like gross, fat, disgusting hands.
Yeah.
That's what it always reminded me of.
Annie loves that.
House?
Yes.
That's good.
She made me buy it.
I like House and House 2 as well. House 2 is funnier than House 1, but I like them both.
Tim Burton feared that the Deo sequence wouldn't go over well since, in his opinion, it wasn't very funny. Burton turned out to be wrong as audiences loved it, and it is thought of as one of the most iconic scenes of the entire movie.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. Because everyone's reaction is like, it's great. So, Charles, him looking under the table because she starts singing Deo.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he looks under the table real quick.
Otho, are you doing
Yeah.
this?
And then they all with the napkins and everyone's.
Yeah, it was great.
It was
I loved
great.
it.
Yeah.
The Maitlands thought they had it after that. They thought everybody's just going to go running.
They were like, we could charge for this.
And
I mean,
they're
people are
not
going to
scared at
pay
all.
for this. Yeah. They're like, Lydia, go get them.
Yeah, and they won't
Yeah.
come down.
And they're like upstairs. The Maitlands are upstairs, like, oh my God, we're going to watch them run out any minute, any minute. And they get a knock on the door, and it's Lydia. And she's like, they want you to come down. They're not scared. And so she comes down and says,
They're not coming.
and that's when they're like, that's it. And they go up and they knock on the door. You open the door right now. And they get in there. They find the model. And they're like, we need to get out of here. We don't want to scare him away. But Otho picks
Finds
up
the book.
He finds the book. Which it always amazed me that
They're very careless with that book.
but also, the living can just see that book. No one else has ever found that book before.
Right?
Like, it
First
should be,
ones.
like, invisible, you know?
Exactly.
I don't
I
know.
just-
Little loophole in the movie, I think.
maybe you should have taken better care of the book. just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, they do just leave that thing just laying around.
Every time.
Yeah.
They were supposed to take it with them to the afterlife, and no, we left the book.
That's right.
And they're like,
Christmas. Rookies.
Die yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
So they basically give him an ultimatum. They're like, you're either going to do this or we're going to make you do it. And so they take the model downstairs. Maxie Dean comes.
Before, when they run back downstairs, that's when Beetlejuice
the snake
shows up as the snake.
Yeah.
And scares the living bejesus out of him.
Yeah.
And then Barbara comes back down just before, right after he drops Charles
To his
from the
death?
second floor down to the, that had to hurt. And so she comes out and says the magic word 3 times and sends him back to the cemetery in the,
Oh, no.
the cemetery in the model.
I
And
will
that's-
say the snake scene's pretty creepy, too.
It was.
Yeah.
That's like your classic Tim Burton stop motion.
Claymation.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's awesome, though. But also, the Maitlands, this is when they get called back to Juno.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they don't, like, they get called to her.
Right.
And so they go to her, and this is when the football players are all in there. And the coach.
Coach, I don't think we survived
not your
that
coach.
crash.
Yeah. I'm not your coach. Go to the waiting room.
Coach, live.
And so this is when she says, show me how you're going to scare him.
Yeah.
And he puts his hand through his face, and his hand, like the skin sticking out of his head, and she
all the eyeballs.
All the eyeballs, and she pulls her mouth apart, and her mouth becomes huge, and you get those are super, very Beetlejuice classic. I mean, they had the toys like
those
that.
are all practical.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Awesome.
I've always wondered if they make those masks like that. Like, think that they would.
I bet you could find one.
Oh yeah,
Definitely hers.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. So they go back, and Lydia's looking for him, and she's talking to Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is in the whorehouse.
Yeah.
And what's he saying? He's saying something. When he's sitting in the chair, and she walks by, and she can hear him say, he's like...
I don't remember.
And so he's like, I'll help you, but you got to say my name. I'm supposed to have a meeting with a guy on the outside.
I gotta be there.
I'll help you if you help me. And so he starts doing charades and, hey, how you doing? He shows the beetle and the orange juice, and she finally gets it, and she says it twice, and she goes, you were the snake, weren't you? And he was like, no. And she's like, no.
I don't know about that.
I think I'm going to wait for Barbara. I'm going to talk to her. And he's like, no. And this is when they come through the door, and they're still scary. And she's screaming, and she's like, no, it's me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's trying to get his face to go back to normal and can't do it. And he comes back, and he has the giant
nose.
Yes, he has the giant nose.
Nice.
Which is, the giant nose is very Pee Wee Herman to me for some reason. Like, it has the same feeling. Like, pushes it in.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, but I think this is when Maxie Dean shows up, right? And they come and get the
book.
The
the model.
Yeah, they come down there. He does the presentation.
He does the presentation. This is going to be
the research facility.
Right. Lizards and insects or something like that.
Raid is dying to sponsor the insect
exhibit or something.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And Maxie Dean says, we came here to see
ghosts.
And so Lydia can't get him to come down, and Otho says, I think I'll be able to do it. Heck yes.
Nice.
That's awesome. He's showing us masks of the
Spirit Halloween, $30.
Not
That's
bad.
awesome. So Otho
does the ritual.
Does the ritual.
He's got their wedding outfits, the tux and the dress, and he
basically sucks them into this, doing an exorcism, basically is what he's doing. And Lydia freaks out, and she summons Beetlejuice to save them.
Yeah. But
and he says, I'll do it, but, I got to get married. It's this whole thing.
That's how I get out.
It's how I get out, and I stay out. So if I help you and you help me.
I always said if I was going to do it, I'm going to do it once.
I'm going to do it once. Yeah.
So do it right.
He gets out, and we get the classic pinstripe with the
carousel,
around his head, and he has like the giant carnival arms that turns into hammers, and they come running in, and Maxie Dean and his wife love it, and they get knocked through the roof, and
hilarity ensues.
Wedding scene, and that's when Geena Davis is starting to get her form back because she turns into this disgusting, like wrinkly skeleton thing, and she says Beetlejuice, and he slaps the zipper on her mouth, and she unscrews it and says Beetlejuice or unzips it, and he throws like the metal plate. Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, it was great. And he's like,
the old fastball.
Yeah. And then he zips her to Saturn.
Yeah.
Adam, he zips him to the model. And he drives the car
into his foot.
And then Geena Davis rides the sandworm, swallows Beetlejuice, and they get away from it all. And basically, they become one with the Dietzes.
Right.
They come to an agreement because now the Dietzes can see him. The next scene we get is the house is back to normal. Almost. Half the stairwell is still
kind of missing.
So I think the downstairs is theirs, is what I kind of gathered from that. And the upstairs is like the Dietzes. And then they probably still have the attic too. But
of course.
Well, no, he has the model downstairs, so who knows? But Lydia comes in, and she's happy as can be, and she says, I got to see you on my science project because I refused to dissect the frog. And how'd you do on the math test? I got an A. So can I do it?
I guess.
All right.
I always liked Alec Baldwin when he lowers his glasses and looks, and all the music starts playing, and she sings the banana boat song, right? Yeah. And that's kind of how the movie ends.
Yep.
That's it.
It's Beetlejuice.
It's Beetlejuice. It's fun. It's entertaining.
It's a good hour and a half of
It really is. Like, it's super
nothing.
quick. I mean, and if you want to fall asleep to something, Calvin did 4 times. So
Didn't mean to.
I'm just saying.
I would probably fall asleep to that movie if I was laying on the couch and watching it because I've seen it 150,000 times.
167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every time.
Hey, did you notice when he was on TV doing his commercial, when it showed his name,
Come on down.
Beetle guys.
it flashed it 3 times.
Yeah.
And then it stopped.
Yeah.
Never did it more than 3 times. And it
Yeah.
came back again and it flashed it 3 times
Yeah.
again.
It's so smart.
I'll swallow anything you want me to swallow. Come on down.
Come on down.
Chew on a dog.
Chewing it up. Woohoo!
So the movie's box office success created plans for a sequel, Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii. A script was commissioned, and Keaton and Winona Ryder both signed on to reprise their respective roles.
It was a joke.
Tim Burton lost interest in the project and went on to direct Batman in 1989.
So I had
Batman
read
Returns.
Michael Keaton was the one that I heard this from, and the studio wanted it so bad that Tim Burton wrote the script so terrible.
Really?
And all of them agreed to do it,
Yeah.
but it was so bad that the studio was like, no way. And he was like, well, this is what I'm going to direct or nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll skip out on it.
Oh my
And
God.
then
Go
he
ahead
did
and pass.
Batman. Yeah. So he was like, F you, here you
I'm
go.
doing Batman.
Yeah, I'm doing
I got
Batman.
things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. We got very important things to do.
I got residuals on this one coming.
Right.
God. Yeah.
That's all I got for Beetlejuice. I mean, I'm sorry I wasn't as active. on
I
this
think
one.
I'm sorry I might have stole some of it, but I
Oh,
had
no, you're
read up
good.
a
No,
you're
lot
fine.
on it.
You're good.
And
You're fine.
I love all the little like
details in this
Little
movie.
Easter eggs. I
I
like them.
love it. Yeah.
For sure.
I love going back and watching movies and finding Easter eggs. It's
Yeah.
the reason why I watch most movies more than
Or when after you listen to like a review or something, or just somebody talk about it, then
Yeah.
it's fun going back through and rewatching the
being
movie.
like, holy
and then
crap,
you come up like,
yeah.
oh,
I missed
man.
that.
Yeah,
Missed a
Yeah.
lot of things on the first few watch
for sure.
throughs.
What do you guys think?
Well,
Interesting.
I have to give it an A. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not going to give it. I know the tears will do that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to give it an S. I think that it's not an S movie, but I think it's a solid A. I think it's a solid movie all around.
Okay.
well, those of you that have not listened before, our tears
Sorry,
are
I
as follows.
skipped. I
We
panicked.
we have an S through F tier system, S being perfect, F being crap, and you can pretty much pick it out. You know, we got S, A, B, C, D, and F. So, David, what's your review and your score for Beetlejuice?
So I have to give it an A.
Yeah.
I have to give it an A. And I think it's just because it's such a nostalgic movie for me. There's really nothing about it that I dislike. I mean,
No.
there's some like continuity things and like silly
Little
things.
nitpicky things.
But that's me being a movie reviewer watching it. But as a kid, I didn't care about any of that. I thought it was hilarious.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and I thought the very like old stop motion stuff is great
Yep.
and it holds up well and it's
Yep.
scary. And Michael Keaton's he's brilliant.
He is.
He's brilliant. I mean,
He's hilarious.
and from what I hear in the new one, he just picks right
Picks it
up.
right back
Really?
up.
And he also, because Beetlejuice is so like gross looking, he looks exactly the same. Like, because they can just make up over old Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And they say he just looks exactly the same.
So sorry, I was looking up. Geena Davis, I guess, did an interview talking about she's not going to be in it, and she was saying that for her, continuity wise for the movie is that since ghosts die, they don't age, so it wouldn't be right they came back.
I will be completely okay if they just mention the Maitlands.
Yeah.
They don't have to be a character in it.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? This could be something completely different. But they are stuck in the house for 125 years, and
Right.
the house is in the movie.
Right.
So I'm very curious on what they're going to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
Went
my
on a
only real question.
Yeah.
Well, here you go. Here's an easy fix.
Listen, even if they're just in the background doing something, working on the model, or just
Yeah.
doing something, that would be freaking awesome.
Have them get lost in Saturn because time moves differently there, and then they were in Saturn the entire time,
Yeah,
and then they
there's
just
easy fixes for it.
Yeah.
They are going to have to explain something, though.
Yeah.
They have to.
Have to.
If
Can't
it
get
took
away
place
from
in a different house,
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah, but it's the exact same house. I wonder if that house exists. Like, I wonder if it's like still like a thing, like
and you can rent it.
like a tourist destination.
That'd be cool.
Or if they rebuilt that house.
Yeah.
Because that house is huge.
Yeah.
So
Good to know.
I give it an A. I think it's a solid watch. I think that if you haven't seen Beetlejuice, obviously you should see Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, who's seen no movies whatsoever, ever, has seen Beetlejuice. So
Right.
I think that this is just something that a lot of people probably have already seen.
Okay.
It's in Vermont.
The house is? Cool.
Nice.
East Corinth, Vermont, and you can tour it.
Feel like even though I tried to watch it with a critical eye since I kept falling asleep, I can't give an accurate rating for the movie. So if I
Are you going to pass?
do you want me if you guys want me to abstain from rating, I can totally do that.
I don't care either way.
I don't care either way either.
Okay.
If you want to rate it, go right ahead.
From the scenes that I did see, I thought they were fun and probably give it either a B or B plus.
All right.
Cool.
So
That's higher than I thought you were going to give it.
Yeah.
Because from our conversations that we had before, I thought you really disliked the movie.
yeah.
And I thought
I don't
you
know
were
if I'm
gonna
going to
give it-
watch it again. in, but the I think what pulls it in is, again, Tim Burton's. It's one of those things where I'm just not a big Tim Burton fan. You know what I'm saying?
I totally get that.
So going into it, I was like, oh, yay. But the care that gets put into every one of his movies that we talked about earlier, like the set designs, the costume designs, you can't go wrong with that. The acting,
everything is intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton did a great job. Winona Ryder, everybody in this movie did a great job. The movie is supposed to be over the top, and maybe that's just not my forte. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're a slow burn kind of guy.
Exactly.
There's no slow burn in this whatsoever.
Not at all. It is. We're go.
From the first 4 minutes of the movie. Yeah.
Right. So, which is fine.
Arguably, the boringest part of the movie was the opening.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite parts. I really like the opening of it.
Logan, every time, like on the second time, third time, he was like, all right, don't fall asleep. He said, it gets interesting after this part.
Old peepaw over here.
Yeah, right.
Mouth breathing.
Well, he does have 2 jobs.
I'm aware. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, if I would abstain, so you guys can decide the final rating. But if I were to give a rating, I'd give it probably like a B plus. So.
Okay.
All right.
Lee?
I saw this movie in the theater when it came out when I was 14 years old. I've seen it countless times. It's one of Annie's favorite movies.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how many times I've seen it.
I probably watch it twice a year.
Yeah.
Easily with her. This is Michael Keaton for me.
Yeah.
This is his role for me when it comes to Michael Keaton. Everybody's it's Batman. He's not my Batman. I don't care what you say.
No, mine's Multiplicity. That's my Michael Keaton.
Well, I come from Mr. Mom.
Oh yeah, Mr. Mom.
What's the one where he was the
car in the works?
Yeah, the car place.
Yeah, what's it called?
Gung Ho.
Gung Ho. Yeah.
So where he really honed his chops as a comedic actor in those movies. And he came full circle, up front, stealing the show, outshining Alec Baldwin, Geena Davis, who was red hot at the time, back in the late 80s, and just killed that movie.
Yeah.
Killed it. His performance is S tier for me. He
honestly,
wasn't even on the screen that much.
Honestly, there's not a bad character in this entire movie. They're all phenomenal.
They're all great.
They all do their role perfect.
The one person you could probably do without and plug anybody else in the world in is Jane. Wouldn't have cared.
That is the only person.
It's the only person you could have plugged in at anywhere else.
And she even did a good job.
Even Dick Cavett was good.
Yeah, I agree.
I give this movie a B+ just because it's not meant to be
a perfect movie. No.
It's just supposed to kill an hour and a half and be funny.
Yeah.
And it does it for me. And anytime it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give it a B+. You say
I gave it an A.
You're going to say B+.
Abstain. It's up to you guys.
We can say A or B+. Either way. No matter to me.
A minus.
A minus.
A- it is.
A minus.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
Right. Beetlejuice, A-.
I'm excited for the next one. Maybe they'll screw it up. I don't know, but
comes out on my birthday.
I know that Michael Keaton said it's fantastic. So
nice.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. All right.
He is pushing his own movie, but
right.
I doubt if you watch it and it's not, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
He probably wouldn't just say that.
As long as he is him in the movie.
I've heard he's just 17 minutes in it. Again, that's all he is in the first one. That's what his agreement was. I only want to be in the movie for 17 minutes. So we'll see.
But all right. Well, that was Beetlejuice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oi, oi.
Hello and welcome to the Postcast. I wanted to say thank you to all our loyal and new listeners. Shout out to all our listeners and subscribers. Thank you for helping and supporting us on this journey. We invite you all to check out our Facebook group or check out our Reddit sub. Be sure to tell us what you think the movie should be rated or what movie we should record next. Be sure to follow us wherever podcasts are found and look for our next episode Monday, September 2nd, as we celebrate 1 year of
pod racing.
You mean podcasting. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed our program just as much as we did recording for you. Thank you, and stay tuned for our next episode.
Now this is pod racing.